Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. This video, I'm finally going to be planting my onions. I'm running about 3 weeks behind my target. And that was because I was getting some weather where we were getting down into the low 20s and I just had to hold off on planting until I got a better stretch of weather. So this is the bed I'm going to be planting in here. You can see I left it covered over the winter time. That kept any weeds out, and then any weeds that might have started in the spring. If they did start, they didn't get any light and hopefully got killed. So I'll move this stuff out of the way and then we'll get planting. I pulled the cover off and you can see I have some debris left over from my cover crop of buckwheat last year. So I'm going to go and rake that off real quick and then I'll come back. So I have the debris cleared out and the bed's looking pretty good, ready for planting. We'll take a look at the soil. So overall it's looking pretty good. And if I take some, I can squeeze it and it holds together, but with almost no effort, it can fall apart. My first step is going to be to put down some fertilizer. This is a combination of Nature Safe 855 and blood meal. Normally I would do blood meal and bone meal together for the first fertilizing, but I'm out of bone meal at the moment, so I'm going to use the Nature Safe 855 in its place. Now, it doesn't have quite as much phosphorus as bone meal would have, but it should be good enough for this planting here. And this is the only time I would really use like a phosphorus based fertilizer, because for the most part the onions only need the nitrogen. So I'm going to sprinkle that on top and I'll use the hard rake to kind of work that into the soil. So I'll just use the hard rake, just kind of lightly work that in before I lay out the bed for the onions. This bed was made with just leftover materials, so it's not uniform, but the planting space is roughly 36 inches wide by 12.5 feet long. I'll put the measurements for that in centimeters down below. What I'm going to do is I'm going to space each row 8 inches apart. So I have 4 rows completely, and I'll put the plants 6 inches apart within the row. So I lay down a string so I can kind of know where the line is going to run for each row. And I have a tape measure so I can do the spacing within the row. Since I'm going with 6-inch spacing, it's very easy on these American tape measures, since they're marked at, every foot's marked, and then it's easy to see the 6-inch mark within each foot. So here's our plants. So we got Candy, Patterson, and the Spanish yellow sweet. So you can see each of these have a pretty healthy stem on them and a root ball with the soil around it that I can use for planting. The space behind the onions, that's my garlic, which was planted last fall. And here we got the first row. I'm just going to start down here at the end next to the garlic. And because I already have a root ball and soil around this, all I have to do is plant it pretty much to the soil level. Put some soil around there. As it begins to bulb, if there's a little bit of soil around that bulbing area, it'll just kind of push out of the way, at least with my soil. It's plenty loose enough for the plant to do that. Now the first row is going to be candy. The first row of candy onions is done. I move my string over 8 inches, drew the line out there, put the tape measure down, and I lay down the candy onions. They're going to cover half of the second row. Now on the back half of the second row, in the first half and then moving over one spot and coming back up, those are going to be the Spanish, yellow sweet Spanish onions. And then the second part of that row and the last row is going to be the Pattersons. Now laying out on a string like this isn't truly necessary, but it doesn't really take that much extra time and it helps keep the row straight. Plus, I use a drip irrigation down right where you see the tape measure. So having equal spacing and a straight line just helps with the irrigation also. All the onions are in place. All that's left to do now is water them in, which I'll do off camera. I can't install the drip irrigation system in yet because I'm still going to get nights where it's going to get down to freezing. And if I install the drip irrigation now, the little water release spots could break from freezing. But what I'm going to do when I play it in is I'll have 3 drip tapes in there. So 1 between each of these 4 rows, and then I have it all connected up to a timer. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed, got something out of this, and we'll see you on the next one. Just a little bonus here at the end. You can see how big the garlic has gotten. And there it all is with the onions behind it.